Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
Khalil Ekulona, and this is Nashville. Each weekday at noon, you'll find me here on 90.3 FM or WPLN.org. This is Nashville is our brand new daily show here at WPLN News. We'll go deeper on the news of the day and bring you perspectives you didn't know you were missing. Join us as we journey into the identity of our city and region. Now, today is a special day because it's Friday. Are you going out tonight? What are you going to do? You know, Nashville has a pretty hoppin' nightlife scene. World-class dining, plenty of bars, and yes, live music. Yep, we got country music, but as we've heard from our guests this week, Music City is not just country music city. Slim & Husky's Pizza Joint, which is dangerously close to our studios, I might add, recently started doing something cool on the first Friday of the month. It's called Slim & Husky's Unplugged, and the idea is to bring hip-hop and R&B to the heart of downtown. Here's the owner, Clint Gray.
We're going to be highlighting some of the local talent within Nashville and the best that we have to offer. And we're not talking about country music. We're talking about R&B, we're talking about rock, we're talking about alternative, and it's all black.
The second First Friday event is tonight, and here to tell us more about it and why it's significant for the Nashville nightlife scene is Marquise Munson, the production coordinator of our sister station, 91.1 WNXP. Marquise, welcome to This Is Nashville. How are you doing?
It feels great. This is the first week that you guys have this show, and the first week I get to be on here. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, there's a lot going on in Nashville tonight.
Yes, there is. Thank you again for joining us. So this event sounds very dope. Tell us more.
Yeah, absolutely. So last month was the first installment of the Unplugged series Slim & Husky puts on to shed a spotlight on black musicians in the local hip-hop, R&B, and alternative scenes here. So last month you had artists like yours truly, Jay, Brian Brown, Ro Marquez, Bryant Taylor, William Davenport, and now this month you have amazing artists like Mike Floss, who dropped an EP called Oasis last month. It was our WNXP Record of the Week, and you can check it out on our website as well, WNXP.org. Then you got some rising stars like Chris Hatch and Imani Wilkins, beautiful R&B singers, as well as F.U. Stan, whose brother Petty is also a rapper here in the local community. He had a show at Mercy Lounge a couple weeks ago. Now F.U. Stan has this show at the Unplugged series. And it's just a good spotlight because when we think about the National Museum of African American Music, we think about the black excellence of music. When we walk through that museum, it's just all these amazing historical facts about some of your favorite artists from hip hop, soul, blues, gospel music. And so to have this space to not only highlight what black music is, but to highlight the future of what black music could be, especially here in Nashville. So I think this is a great event that Slim & Huskies puts on. And for anybody that knows Slim & Huskies, this is their MO. This is what they're about, and this is who they are. And when I was able to talk to Clint Gray about that, that's what he said. He was like, our love for hip-hop and R&B, growing up loving the arts and the community is a big part of what we do. And we just use pizza as a way to connect all these things together. Yeah. So that's why this event is amazing, and I'm looking forward to it tonight.
Now, Nashville is not country music city, as I said. Our music scene is a lot more diverse than that, right?
Absolutely. And I think it's funny because I was talking to the Texas trio Krungbin, who will be coming into town soon as well, and they were talking about Texas music and explaining how there's always this perception that Texas music is all about Willie Nelson and everything surrounding that. And when they were explaining that to me, I'm thinking, this is pretty much Nashville in a nutshell. This is Tennessee in general. There's so much soul music in Memphis, and there's local indie rock and hip hop here in Nashville. And sometimes we just, go to the country music. And that's what's in your face when it comes to Nashville. You think about country music, you start thinking about Broadway, but then there's things outside of those worlds that, we know as Nashvillians, but people from the outside don't know too much about it. And so that's why with our station and with events like this, it sheds a light on those different things that are in Nashville outside of obviously country music.
Now, you alluded to something that I want to get to. This is something that you all think about a lot at WNXP. Like, for people who may not be familiar with our sister music station, break it down for us. What's the goal?
Our goal is to shed a light on underutilized voices here in Nashville, and that's from indie rockers. We have some great indie rock bands here, from Bully to Okie Dokie. We have local hip-hop from Deja McBride to Namir Blade, local R&B. Every genre here in Nashville is covered with amazing talent and diversity, and we just want to give a platform for those artists to share their music with the world, and I think that's our primary goal. And in the mix of that, you may get some special treats in the middle of it, some De La Soul, maybe a Tribe Called Quest every now and then, especially coming from me. But that's what we want to do, and that's what we want to shed a light on, because local artists here in Nashville just need a platform to showcase the talent that they have, and so that's what we want to provide them with.
Shout out to Namir Blade, who co-produced our theme music, by the way, and you had me when you mentioned De La and Tribe. So the focus is like on new music from established artists and those making their debuts, right?
No, absolutely. So especially when I start looking at music discovery, right? And this station really started to open my eyes to the amount of just amazing music that is out there. I started listening to an Australian rapper by the name of Genesis Owusu, based off of listening to him from our station, and I was able to discover it by listening to that. Yeah, you'll get your familiar favorites. You'll get your Paramore and your Hayley Williams of the worlds, but you'll also get artists like Arlo Parks, who you may have not known about. You probably heard about her, but you may hear her music on our station, see a live session from her, and instantly become a fan. And that's, to me, the beauty of this station and this music discovery. When people go up to me and say that I heard Namir Blade on your station, and I'm like a huge fan of this person now. And like, it's cool to say that you like the Killers or Death Cab for Cutie or bands like that, but to come up to us and say that you like an artist that we want to help everyone else discover, and you say, yeah, I'm a huge fan of that artist now, that's refreshing for us.
Now, you and the rest of the staff are always heading out to shows and performances in town. What's your angle when you're covering an event?
My angle is to watch it as a spectator. I think I come from a world of sports where I was a sports reporter. I had to analyze every little detail about a game. How many rushing yards does Derrick Henry have in 2 minutes? Or just weird things like that, to where you have to dissect it in sports. But in music, it's just observing the music and getting a feel for the music. I had a chance to check out Yola last night at the Ryman along with Allison Russell, and it was just being there and just enjoying the music, seeing the fans and the crowd's reaction to her music, and seeing what songs pop the most amongst the audience. And I think that's the way that I go into it covering. I go into it as a spectator, as a fan of music, and just really get a feel for everything that's going on around me. Look at the audience, look at the different diversity within that concert. And so, yeah, that's what I look for when I go to a concert.
Now, I want to come back to tonight's Slim and Husky's event. You'll be there, right?
Yeah, of course. I will be there in the flesh. So if you see me, say what's up.
That's right. Say what's up to Marquise. What's the significance of this event in the Nashville nightlife scene?
Especially when you think about the National Museum of African American Music, especially the location. Now, I'm not going to get into a debate on where it's located. You know, some people think it should have been located in North Nashville or somewhere where it's predominantly black. And so, yeah, I get that and I understand that. And you have a bunch of tourists stopping by Broadway, and you can kind of miss it by walking by, going to the local honky tonks and, getting your country music feel on. But I think having hip hop on Broadway is just such a big deal for not only just people who come into town, but for Nashvillians as well. And there's been a lot of shows from Acme Feed and Seed that showcase hip hop and R&B music, and now to have an event that highlights black musicians not only from the past, but also highlights black musicians from the future as well. So I think the significance is just having showcases like this to give a platform to the local hip hop and R&B scene. And there's just been so many different venues to be able to do this, from Mercy Lounge having an event with Petty and Namir Blade. You had Acme Feed and Seed with Deja McBride show. And now you have this show at the museum. I just think it's just a good showcase for Nashville hip hop and R&B to have a platform.
This reminds me of something we had a guest who said earlier this week, Jalen Hayes. He's a high school senior hip hop artist himself. He told us he wonders if people even want to hear hip hop and R&B on Broadway in downtown. What do you think?
Look, I think there's room on Broadway for everything. Like, it doesn't have to be, okay, I'm going to go to Broadway, so I want to go listen to some Dierks Bentley. Like, no, like, you can get a feel for every single music genre on Broadway. If you want Nashville to be titled the Music City, you can't just highlight one musical genre and call this the Music City. You want to showcase everything that your city has to offer musically. And so I don't care if that's on Broadway, if it's outside of Broadway, it's good to have music of every diversity within that confined of Broadway. Because sometimes I go to Broadway and I'm like, man, I can't listen to this music. Like, I need some local flavor. I need some hip hop. I need some rock. I need something different. And that's what people want. People want something different sometimes. And so it's good to have different spaces that play different things.
Is there a hint of what's to come for our nightlife out here?
Yes, I think so. And I was talking to our boss, Jason Moon Wilkins, about this yesterday. And it's just, when I came here in 2019, I didn't get to see a lot of local hip hop shows. And maybe I was just blind to it at that point. And now that I'm in it, I see it a little bit more. But there's just been so many shows that highlighted local Black musicians around town. And so, yeah, I definitely see a culture shift where a lot of venues are now paying attention to the music that these people are making and booking them in their venue and giving them that space to be able to share the world with the talent that they have. So, yeah, I definitely see a culture change for sure.
That is Marquise Munson from our sister station 99.1 WNXP. Be sure to check out his interview with Slim and Husky's co-owner Clint Gray about the event tonight. Slim and Husky's Unplugged at WNXP.org. Marquise, my man, thanks for being here.
Oh, absolutely. Appreciate you guys for having me.
It's time for a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to break down what Nashville nightlife is all about with a few folks who make it run night after night. Don't go away. This is Nashville.
Funding for This is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
Welcome back. I'm Khalil Ekulona, and this is Nashville. This hour, where it's all about Nashville nightlife, going out and having some fun. It's Friday, after all. Time to let the work week fade away. Now, I'm certain to you that a particular sound comes to mind when you think of Nashville nightlife. But you know what? There's a lot more than bachelorette parties and Broadway in this town. From dance floors packed with salseros to karaoke nights and drag shows to old school country quartets playing, there's even a vibrant hip hop scene.
You better take it from me.
Seguimos esta noche con salsa. Let's go.
This is Nashville nightlife. Now, let's talk about it with a few folks who make this city's vibrant nightlife possible. First up, we're joined by Americana singer and songwriter Gabe Lee. Gabe, welcome to This is Nashville.
Hey, Khalil, what's up, man?
I'm chilling, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just got in from being on the road, and I'm a little exhausted, but I'm glad y'all reached out, and I'm excited to have a conversation with you.
Well, I'm honored that you've been able to muster up the energy to talk to us for a little bit today. So, Gabe, tell me about yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Gabe Lee. I'm a songwriter from here in Nashville, Tennessee, born and raised. I went to music school briefly here at Belmont. I ended up transferring out and getting a literature degree, and once I finished that up, I moved right back to Nashville doing the songwriter thing, playing in bands, and in Nashville that means basically you're doing everything else that you can to make some money and pay rent. So I've been a bartender for 10 plus years. I work for my dad as well on the side to keep things going.
Yeah. Now, we've been talking a lot about how expensive it is to live here, and you mentioned that you're doing everything but music to pay the bills. And, for a city that really relies on its musicians, I have to wonder, how do we keep our musicians around? I mean, get into your experience and what it's been like.
Sure. Man, being part of the food industry as well as the music industry, there's a lot of collision going on there. I mean, basically, half or more of my bartender buddies are either musicians or ex-musicians or working on their own side projects. Um, Nothing's going to really stop Nashville from its current growth, but I think there are organizations like the ones you guys partner with that help provide these stages and platforms for more opportunity, just more opportunity in general. Because with the swelling of Nashville, there's so many people moving here, and there are tons of different musical talents moving here as well, which is incredible. But how do we best take advantage of the fact that it is a melting pot of talent? And I think one of those things, yeah, is to provide better opportunities for musicians to get out there in whatever way they can. To be honest, it's not about making life easier for musicians, I don't think. I mean, the grind is part of it. The grind is part of what builds your soul and your character. You can't pursue art if it's just easy. If it's just an easy and high paying job. That's not what art is about. Art is about honesty and authenticity with yourself. And that's what I've learned, at least my own personal experience being a songwriter here in Nashville, with a little bit of luck and a lot of elbow grease and patience will pay off just as well as being handed an opportunity.
So you've been on the scene for a while. How would you describe Nashville's nightlife?
It definitely is a destination these days. And it's fun. I mean, growing up being a Preds fan and a Titans fan, like I will say some drawbacks are the fact that other teams fill our stadiums even better than we do because families want to make a trip to Nashville, which I think is great. I think that the town has a lot of history, and it is known historically for its country music, and folks want to come and be a part of that and soak it up. And I totally understand that. But I think folks need to remember that Nashville is a home for songwriters and a home for musicians and everyone else involved in music business. I think one big connecting factor that will play a crucial role in the diversity of the fabric of music culture in Nashville are the folks that are surrounding the music talent itself. Your photographers, your labels, all the folks that invest in music and do pro bono work for artists just so that they can have some content or get a reel, and those folks are willing and happy and talented enough to work for everybody. So besides the nightlife in Nashville, when you go out and you see a show, it's networking. You're constantly meeting folks who could potentially help you. And the goal is, I think, to surround yourself with folks you trust. And that's what my buddies and I do as songwriters when we go out and attend songwriter nights. Even if we aren't performing ourselves, we're going out to support our buddies. And so oftentimes I'll be at little hubs of little listening room hubs, basically for songwriters doing the Americana thing. And that would include Bobby's Idol Hour in Midtown, the listening room itself of course, is very well known in Nashville. Third and Lindsley, and Revival or Whiskey Jam are also very well known sung by the crowds.
Now, if you're headed out to a bar and you have to show your ID to a bouncer to be allowed entry, my next guest is arguably the most popular bouncer downtown. Colby Barrett, welcome to the show.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yes, pleasure to have you here. So to patrons on Broadway and in the social media world, you were known as the Cowboy. How did you earn that moniker?
I work at Layla's, and I work the front door there, and we wear cowboy hats, and I don't know, I guess it just kind of somebody put it out there, and it's just stuck. So it's something I have to hear constantly.
How does it feel to be a mini celebrity?
Well, you know what? It's new and strange for me, but I guess one of those things that we're just gonna have to ride it and see what happens. Ultimately, I'm still, my job is the security of that bar and our patrons. So, but yeah, that's just something that came along with it. It's pretty cool. So, yeah.
Now I want to ask you about your job, because what is it like to deal with hundreds of drunk people every time you work?
It can be interesting. There's a lot of them, and most folks are there, and drinking to have a good time, and but once they've got a little bit, more alcohol in them, they talk a lot. Mm-hmm. But it can escalate from there. Sometimes we try to prevent that from happening, and we have a pretty good atmosphere at Layla's. We don't really get a lot of trouble there, but it does happen. So yeah, it's interesting these folks drinking.
Tell me of a moment working where you were just in their situation at Layla's Friday, Saturday night, and you just said to yourself, "Oh Lord, this is a wild job."
It's constantly like that, really.
Okay.
Even though it's a lot more calm there, and it's just sometimes you look around and you think, there's a lot of people watching going on. So mm-hmm. You just, wow. So it makes you think about the next time you actually have an alcohol that, you don't do that yourself. So it's interesting.
I was a bartender for years, and that is something that is true. Like the calmest people you'll find at a bar are people who work in the industry, because we know how it gets. But I bet you get to hear some pretty amazing musicianship downtown. I'm curious, are there any songs that you're just plain old tired of hearing?
Yeah. And, standing in front of that door, I get to hear, so many bands every week over and over. And a lot of them play the same songs, so as they're doing cover songs. A lot of them play original music, but there are a few that, I want to break something when I hear it. Devil Went Down to Georgia would be one of them.
Okay.
And I know I'm probably get some slack from this. It's a great song, but when you hear it over and over and over constantly, it's, yeah.
Give me an estimate. How many times in 1 week do you hear that song?
I'm going to say probably 15 to 20.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And you have to hear all that goes with that, which is, of course, the musicians, to play that song, there's a lot that goes into it. That fiddle player. And, so it's it's interesting how they go about it, but you know what, that's the way they earn their living. And, not that I'll listen to it 20 more times a week if I have to. So,
That brings a whole new definition of getting a song stuck in your head. If you're just tuning in, welcome. This is Nashville, and I'm your host, Khalil Ekulona. This hour is all about Nashville nightlife. Right now, we're visiting with the good people that keep it running night after night. And That includes bartenders. My next guest is Katie Sadiq, manager and bartender at the Rosemary and Beauty Queen in East Nashville. Katie, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hey, so answer this for me. What do you like most about being a bartender?
I'm able to be myself, and that's really important to me. I don't work for a corporate establishment. I have two really great bosses, but being able to be myself behind that bar and in that establishment is my most favorite thing.
So
Because I'm not masking anything. I'm very straightforward, and it's a lot of fun.
Conversely, what frustrates you about the job?
Being looked at as though I'm someone's servant. I'm not there. I'm not there to provide. I'm there to provide a service. However, I am not your servant. So don't snap your fingers at me. Don't yell at me from across the bar. I'm attentive. I'll get to you whenever I get to you. But there's also a ton of other people that are there to be serviced as well. But you're not the only person just because you yell from across the bar to get my attention.
That must be really frustrating from my experience. I remember people doing a little bit extra to get attention, and you've got like a wide bar and you're 5 deep of people, and it's like, hey, patience, I will get to you in time. Question for you. Do you slow serve people who are a little bit rude like that?
Oh, no. I mean, I automatically tell them that they're going to the back of my list.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, I
like you just immediately put yourself to the back of my list. I work the crowd. The crowd doesn't work me. I have a system on how things work.
It's wonderful. I want to talk now about safety. As I said, I'm a former bartender, and I feel like part of the job is that a lot of people don't really know about this, is that you have to look out for folks you're serving. Jack Ohms started Safe Bar, program that provides free bystander intervention training sessions to businesses across town to help staff prevent sexual assault.
Unfortunately, we know that alcohol is used commonly as a way to facilitate sexual assault. And so that's a really big reason why Safe Bar is focused on bars. And so we want to be able to train the staff in a way that allows them to do their job, but also create these safer environments in nightlife and in party scene, anything like that.
So again, those trainings are free for any businesses that want to sign up. We'll be including the link as well as Jack's email in our web post for anyone who wants to learn more. But Katie, what's your experience behind the bar when it comes to that?
I try to be as alert as possible. Being a manager and also being a bartender, I'm always like on the move. I'm always like moving consistently, but being observant as well of my surroundings, because you can have a group of girls that are having a great time, and one girl in the group can stray away very easily, and her friends don't notice because they're dancing and they're having fun, and she might end up with somebody who ends up making her feel uncomfortable. And just having eyes all over the bar, not just like focusing on drinks, and also communicating with staff is very important. Like, we try to keep an eye out on everything to make sure that we are keeping people safe.
Colby, what's your experience with that?
She's right. You constantly got to be, keeping an eye on things, and there's really, on Broadway, there's sensory overload for even, people that work there for years. Sometimes you get caught up in that, so you really got to just watch, and pay attention. And a lot of times folks will come up and tell you, hey, you know what, someone's making me feel uncomfortable. And sometimes, I know there's a lot of, they get something put in their drink. So I always tell people, listen, if you set your drink down and you turn around, I wouldn't go back and pick it up and drink it again. So, it's just one of those things. You keep your drink with you. Don't sit it down and leave it unattended.
Final question for Colby and Katie. Just who is Nashville's nightlife for?
The Wicked.
Do you agree, Colby?
You know what? I meet people from all over the world, and you know what? There's, sure there are some wicked people there, and but there's a lot of people there that come there to have a good time, and they want to visit Nashville, and we try to provide a safe environment for them to be able to do that. So yes, there are some bad people everywhere, I believe. So
now, Katie, explain to me, what do you mean when you say Nashville's nightlife is for the wicked?
Yeah, I don't think, whenever I say wicked, I don't necessarily mean like bad. I've always been told there's no rest for the wicked, and people that come to Nashville, they come to Nashville to party. And especially with the bar that I work in, we're a dance bar. Like there's a DJ 6 nights a week, and it's literally like go from the time the sun sets to the time that we do last call, and things get crazy and the atmosphere changes so rapidly. But yeah, there's just no rest for the wicked whenever people come to Nashville and they want to have a good time. And as we heard earlier, the Woo Girls, and
they come to party for sure.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. They don't necessarily know what they always come to Nashville to do, because they always love to ask, the bartenders and everyone else in the industry what they like to do for fun. We like to sleep, guys.
Hey, that's a valuable commodity, I know. Well, that's Katie Sadiq. Thanks to you and Colby Barrett for coming on to the show. Gabe Lee, hang out with us throughout the break. We've been talking about just what Nashville nightlife is all about here in Music City. When we come back, we'll talk about who exactly it's for. Stay with us. This is Nashville. AJ Kang got his start as a DJ, spinning everything from 80s nights at Luigi's Pizza to Bollywood nights at Chauhan Ale and Masala House.
I played country, I played pop, I played hip-hop, I played EDM, I played a little bit of everything.
For the past 3 years, he was the house DJ at Rebar in Midtown. Then one Saturday night this January, the owner came up to him in the middle of his set while he was playing Yeah by Usher.
And normally when she comes up, she gives me a hug and she, is like, hey, how good to see you. Can you play this song? And I'm like, sure. I mean, I'd play Mustang Sally in there before for her. I played Brick House for her. I don't have a problem playing with the owner requests, not at all. But this time she comes up and she's like angry. And she says, I'm going to need you to stop playing all this black music immediately, or I'm going to make you leave right now.
He was so shocked he didn't say anything and just went ahead and changed the music.
And so I'm like, all right, here comes Mr. Brightside. But I'm so confused. So I'll go over to the side of the stage and I say to her, what was all that don't play black music stuff? Like, what is that about? Well, she said, look at all these black people in here. And it's because you play all that music. And if you played better music, there'd be better people in here.
Ooh, yeah. So he's stunned. Walks back over to his station. The next track, Dirty Little Secret by the All-American Rejects.
And the part where like, Dirty Little Secret, who has to know? And I paused the music right there and I thought to myself, everybody's got to know. So I pick up the microphone and I told the club exactly what she said. And I packed up my stuff and I walked out. And the crowd walked out with me.
This is Nashville, and I'm your host, Khalil Ekulona. AJ Kang's story went viral a few months ago, and for good reason. This hour, we've been talking about Nashville nightlife. Now we want to talk about who it's for. I'd like to introduce our next guests. Tiffany Taylor is a culture writer, for 2Ls on a Cloud, a local culture blog, and Reginald Pierre is a YouTuber and vlogger who covers downtown. Welcome to you both.
Hello.
I want to start with what we just heard about DJ AJ Kang's experience. Tiffany, what is your reaction to that?
I remember seeing it on Facebook and not being surprised at all. Like, that is what a lot of the bars downtown represent.
Have you ever experienced something like this yourself?
Not that outright, but it when back when 2Ls was putting on shows, it was hard to get venues to book us because of the quote unquote type of music we were playing. And so we had to get creative and, pick a acceptable name on an email so that we could even get people to respond to us.
Now, Pierre, you spent a lot of time capturing the vibe of our downtown scene. I am curious, who do you think downtown Nashville nightlife is for?
I think downtown Nashville is for anybody who likes music. That's what I always tell my viewers. If you like music, you'll be fine downtown.
Have you ever seen any situation like the one that DJ AJ Kang has experienced?
Not personally. I heard about it from other people. There's a club we used to go to that they had to change it. A lot of Black people used to go there, and they had to change the music because they felt like there was distracting Black people instead of white people. But other than that, I've never personally experienced that.
Local American musician Gabe Lee is still with us. Gabe, we talked about this a little bit earlier. You were born and raised in Nashville and Nashville's music scene. Some people have this idea that country music is white, but that's not a complete picture, right?
Correct. There's a lot of things to take into account when you are unpacking that kind of statement, and I don't know that it's really helpful in the point of diversity when you're discussing opening doors that country music is white, or that that makes Music City white. I mean, I have a Taiwanese background. My folks are from Taiwan, which is in the Pacific Island, right off of the coast of China. And my parents immigrated here in the early 80s. And so my brother and I were both born and raised in Nashville. And having grown up in the church and being surrounded by Nashville's music culture, there's I think a lot more to understand as far as really just what country music means to the city. I mean, it is part of the lifeblood of this region, and historically significant as well. Of course, it comes with many issues and hard pressing issues that are being stoked up today, which I think is really important. But I think if you make a blanket statement like that, it undermines some of the folks who are honestly trying to change it.
Why do you feel it undermines folks who are really trying to change that a little bit?
Sure, because I am not white, and I am influenced and inspired by the history of country music. I think as a lyrical, in its lyrics and as a genre, it's one of the best storytelling methods in music. I think there's a reason why folks have gravitated towards it, and why now it is considered basically mainstream. Of course, the stuff that's on like top 40 radio, I think in most genres, the more popular stuff is not a very accurate representation of the genre as a whole. It kind of represents where the money is, more so than where the inspiration's coming from. So when I say that those kind of blanket statements might not be helpful and might be undermining certain folks, is because like my label head and artist manager, Alex Torres, has a Hispanic background, and he comes from Texas, and I have my Taiwanese background, but we both have a love for country music and for storytelling, and really just for great music. So we are out here investing in our time and energy and assets and resources into creating that music in order to break through, or at least make a living doing art and creating art. So if you make that kind of blanket statement, it ignores folks that might be putting everything they can into changing that mindset.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk a little bit more about the downtown scene, which is what a lot of people think about when they think of nightlife here. So, Tiffany, how has the downtown nightlife scene changed?
It being a Nashville native, I can honestly say it has changed into the face that it has always wanted to be. I remember, I'm 33, so in my early 20s, I remember going out from Thursday to Sunday and being downtown in different pockets and being well received. Now I can't imagine. It gives me anxiety to think about having to go downtown. There's nothing downtown that I want to do. So it's definitely not for people. I feel like it's not for people who look like me. I think downtown is strictly for the tourists.
Pierre, you actually like the downtown scene. Why?
I love it because it's always exciting. Every time, every night I go downtown, I go to the same place almost every night, and it's always exciting. It's full of excitement.
What do you want people to know so they can get a taste of Nashville nightlife?
Basically, like the music. What I show in my videos, I show the music, the live music. I'm trying to get into bars. I'm showing the wolf stop. I just want people to get a full experience. That if you love music, no matter what the background is, white, black, Hispanic, I have met all types of people from all over the world on Broadway, and they love it. They love the music. So if you're into music, you want to have a little alcohol with your music, Broadway is where to go.
Tiffany, what do you want people to know about the Nashville nightlife scene and what it has to offer?
That it's trying to make room for other people. But like I said, I don't see, when I go downtown, I don't see too many people that look like me. And a lot of the bars downtown don't have a great reputation of being inviting of Black and brown folks because of the way we dress. Like the dress code alone lets me know that if I wanted to go downtown and have a good time, I have to dress accordingly to the masses to be even invited in. So it's not as welcoming as they like to think that is, but I think that's intentional.
Pierre, have you ever run into a dress code situation?
As far as dress code, it's very basic. I always tell my viewer that they're not going to let you in any bars if you just have a t-shirt and jogging pants on. The dress code to me, I don't feel it's like diversity stuff. Like you have to have a cowboy hat and cowboy boots to get in.
I hear you. I understand.
As long as they're not just going to let anybody in. That's what I always tell them. They just want you to look decent.
That is Reginald Pierre. I want to thank you, Tiffany Taylor, and Gabe Lee for joining us today. We've been talking this hour about Nashville nightlife, who it's for and who makes it run. Before we go today, I'm going to hop out of my host chair and into the passenger seat. Each Friday, join me as I ride shotgun with one of our fellow Middle Tennesseans. This time, we're tagging along with the taxi driver on a busy Friday night to see the city and what the nightlife is like.
An Uber, and they're going to block the road.
Getting to the Uber with their chili fries.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't like. Jennifer Serrano. I'm a Nashville native, and I'm a taxi driver for 5 years.
You taking somebody?
No, but you gotta
take me to 1402 Arthur Ave by Marone Kroger's. What's your name, man?
I'm Alex Eaton.
Alex, nice to meet you.
Yes, I'm a native Nashvilleian.
Really?
Yes, I was born here.
I must hit the jackpot because I can't believe I'm in a car with two people who are born and raised in
You know, they call
Nashville.
us unicorns here in Nashville.
I'm so lucky. I would play the Powerball.
I wish I was playing. We win the lottery. Oh my gosh.
What would you do if you won the lottery?
I would get me a house in Nashville.
Okay. I mean, look, with the
party.
housing prices out here, you pretty much have to win the lottery
You
to
sure
be able
do.
to buy a house.
That's no joke, too. These prices
something.
around here. Let's see. It's one bedroom.
How long is the shift normally?
Typically around 12 hours.
12 hours. Do you take a break, though?
Oh, yeah. A lot of times being in the airport is a break. Take a nap in the car.
Take a nap in the car.
Yeah, you can if it's slow enough. I grew up in the outskirts of Nashville, yeah.
What part?
Jolton area. It's kind of almost country, suburb.
So when you were young, did you come down to downtown Nashville often?
Yeah, once I turned 21, I sure did.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nothing like it is now. Hello, need a taxi?
What's your name, man?
I'm MJ.
MJ.
Yes.
How was your night?
Good, not too bad. A little dancing, a little shots.
Getting home safe on a Friday night out.
Exactly, that's why I'm with Jen.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's that?
Just trying to go two blocks over.
Where are you going?
14th Avenue.
I'm drunker than hell. I'm in Nashville for a bachelor party. So
Okay.
Out of here.
Well, you gotta pay first.
He's stiffed?
Yeah, that's the first time that's happened to me. That he's actually said, "See you later."
Will the cops do anything?
It'll probably take him 2 hours to get out here. So, I'm just gonna have to eat it.
That sucks.
It does. I picked up 2 couples. So they're going back to one of their hotels.
Okay.
One of the ladies, she put her hand on my shoulder and said, "You have to put up with so much." And then she slid her hand down.
Oh, wow. She was trying to get a tip.
Yeah.
Have people started their hotel exercises before they got to the hotel?
Some of them have tried. I tell them, okay, no clothes are coming off in this car. The trick to dealing with that is to keep them talking, and they can't start. Okay, so 3 in the back and 2 in the middle.
Let's go around. Where you from? What's your name and where you from?
I'm Courtney. I'm from Rhode Island.
I'm Agneta and I'm from Finland.
My name's Nicholas. I'm from Great Britain. My name's Marcus and I'm from the United Kingdom.
I'm Jenna. I'm from South Africa.
And I'm Iris and I'm from Austria.
Wonderful.
Now, how know you jealous? How do you guys know each other?
We just met.
That's a funny story.
I'm supporting this man.
Rhinestone high-heeled boots. Okay. I can check those off my Nashville bucket list.
Yeah, if you like people watching, just come down here and sit for a while. You don't need to drink. You just sit on the sidewalk and watch.
What will some people do to draw your attention?
Most of them will wave at you or yell at you, but they don't seem to understand that they need to yell taxi instead of hey.
You know, I blame that on ride shares.
Yeah, me too. So, you know, she's trying to find her ride share, and I don't miss that at all. It's just impossible to give a drunk person directions.
I mean, we're watching it happen in front of us.
Yeah.
All she has to do is say, taxi.
Right.
Easy.
Yeah. When I was a rideshare driver, you know, they had Facebook groups. You know, they would talk a lot of smack about taxis, but really none of them knew much about taxis, if anything. I didn't either. I'd never ridden in a taxi before in my life.
Okay.
And so I probably kind of did it too. And then when I came over to this job and see how much harder it is, I take it all back. I invite any of them to come and drive taxi for a year. And then if you want to talk some smack, you can. But until you get out here and do this job in comparison to your current job, you need to have respect for taxi drivers.
Thanks for tagging along with me for that ride with taxi driver Jennifer Serrano. Whew, what a wild Friday night. That's a wrap for our first week of This is Nashville. Tune in again Monday at noon. We're checking in on nurses because, yeah, the pandemic isn't over. Also next week, we'll spend some time in North Nashville's art scene, then and now. We've got some great things in store. You won't want to miss it. This is Nashville is a production of WPLN News and Nashville Public Radio. Listen back to this episode at thisisnashville.org or wherever you get your podcasts. Our producers are Steve Harouche, Rose Gilbert, and Tasha A.F. Lemley. Our digital lead is Anna Gallegos-Cannon. Michaela Elias is our technical director. Our executive producer is Andrea Tudhope. The masterminds behind our theme music are Larange and Namir Blade. The conversation doesn't end here. Tweet us at This Is Nashville. Find us on Facebook and Instagram and tell us what you want from our show by filling out our quick survey online. This is Nashville. I'm Khalil Ekulona. We'll see you on Monday, everybody. And be good to each other.